You have a floor at a green light. The engine screams up to 8,000 RPMs. Sounds like a jet engine on a bad day. And the car just creaks. That awful feeling where the engine is absolutely howling and you're still getting smoked by a Toyota Camry. And you're sitting there at the intersection on I-95, completely convinced your transmission is about to explode. Yeah, that has a name. And there's an explanation your dealer will never give you. Today, you're going to finally understand what a CVT transmission is, why the biggest Japanese automakers on the planet are obsessed with this technology, and why a huge chunk of American drivers would rather push their car up a hill than drive something with a CVT. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly whether a CVT-equipped car is right for your life or a ticking time bomb for your wallet. Stick around, because there's one detail no dealership salesperson will ever tell you. And that detail could save you from a financial headache that'll drag on for years. If you're new here, go ahead and smash that subscribe button and drop a like right now. This channel exists for people who want to actually understand cars. No dealer BS, no fluff, no sponsor content. And before we dive in, tell me in the comments, do you own or have you driven a CVT car? What was your experience? Drop it below, because your story helps everyone else who's out here doing their research. Let's get into it. Picture this. You're sitting at a red light on the 405 in LA, that classic gridlock that makes you genuinely reconsider your life choices. A brand new Honda Fit pulls up next to you, fresh off the lot. That new car smell practically radiating through the window. Owner looking proud as hell. Light turns green. Guy punches the gas. The car makes a noise like a semi-truck trying to climb a mountain pass with the brakes on. Engine screaming, heads turning, somebody's kid in the back of a minivan genuinely startled, and the Fit just inches away from the light, almost embarrassed by its own performance. You look over, look at the car, and think, what in the world was that? That was the CVT, continuously variable transmission. And that's exactly what we're talking about today. But before we get there, you need to understand the basics. Because a lot of people assume automatic is automatic, like it's all the same thing. It's not. That's like saying all beer is the same because it comes in a can. Bad Light, Ipo, Stout, totally different animals. When we talk about automatic transmissions, there are at least 3 completely different types, different mechanics, different feel, different maintenance costs, different purpose. The first is the conventional automatic, sometimes called the traditional torque converter automatic. This is the classic, the one most people know without knowing they know it. It has real gears, physical gear sets, a clutch pocket, a torque converter, and it works with hydraulic pressure. It's tough, it's reliable. It can take a beating. And today you'll find versions with 8, 9, even 10 speeds. Think of it like a staircase for your engine. If you only have 4 big steps, the engine has to work hard, climbing each one. Now imagine someone comes in and puts 8 steps in the same space. Each step is smaller. The climb is easier. Less strain, better fuel economy, smoother shifts. More speeds equals smoother, more efficient. This transmission earns my respect. The second type is the dual clutch transmission. This is the favorite of people who actually like driving. Here's how it works. Imagine the gears are split into 2 groups. One shaft handles the odd gears first, third, fifth. The other handles the evens, second, fourth, sixth. While you're in first gear, the transmission already has second preloaded and waiting. When it's time to shift, we're talking milliseconds. Practically invisible. The result is a transmission that shifts roughly 3 times faster than a conventional automatic. The Porsche PDK is the most famous version of this. Volkswagen uses it across a ton of their lineup. When you accelerate in a dual-clutch car and it shifts, you feel it in your hands. You're in control! The car responds to you. The transmission isn't making decisions for you. That's driving pleasure. And then we get to the third type. Today's main character. The CVT! Forget everything I just said. The CVT has 0 fixed gears. None. Zilch. Know how it works? Picture 2 metal cones positioned facing each other, connected by a special steel belt. When you accelerate, that belt slides along the cones, continuously changing the gear ratio, smoothly, infinitely, without ever jumping from one gear to the next. That's why it's called continuously variable. Technically speaking, it has infinite gear ratios. Beautiful, on paper. In real life, the cost catches up with you. When you accelerate hard in a CVT car, the engine shoots up to high RPMs and stays there, wailing, screaming, while the car is still gradually picking up speed. That classic slip and clutch sensation. The noise doesn't match the speed. Your brain, trained for years on a normal, automatic, or manual, has no idea what's happening. Feels broken. Feels like something's about to give out at any second. Nothing's broken. That's the CVT doing exactly what it was designed to do. And this is where most CVT videos completely miss the point. Now, before you go, leave an angry comment blaming the Japanese for ruining cars. Let me ask you something. Why do Toyota, Honda, and Nissan, three of the biggest automakers on earth, companies with brilliant engineers who've been designing cars for decades, keep betting on this technology? Why don't they just ditch the CVT and put a real automatic in every car? The answer isn't stupidity. It's not stubbornness. It's pure strategy. And that strategy makes total sense when you understand the context it was born in. Drop a comment below right now. Did you know there were 3 different types of automatic transmission? Yes or no? It helps me understand what kind of content you want to see more of here. Japan is an expensive country. Really expensive. A liter of gas in Tokyo has hit the equivalent of over $6 a gallon, while Americans were already losing their minds over $4 gas. Urban space is incredibly tight. Tokyo traffic makes rush hour on the 101 in San Francisco look like an empty country road on a Sunday morning. And Japan has some of the strictest environmental regulations on the planet, with emissions targets that force automakers to innovate or pay massive fines. In that context, fuel efficiency isn't a marketing slogan. It's survival in the domestic market. And the CVT, in that specific environment, does one thing better than any other transmission. It keeps the engine running at its most efficient RPM range at all times, regardless of your speed. In a conventional transmission, every gear change briefly pulls the engine out of its ideal range. The CVT eliminates that waste because there are no shifts. The variation is continuous, smooth, and the engine stays right in the sweet spot. The result in stop-and-go driving that kind of every American commuter knows all too well is lower fuel consumption and lower emissions. It's not lies in the brochure. In a specific use case, in city driving at consistent low speeds, the CVT actually delivers that. There's another important detail most people have never heard. Japan has a vehicle category called Kai cars. These are microcars with tiny engines, most under a liter of displacement. They get special tax breaks, and they represent nearly half the Japanese market. These cars need to squeeze every single drop of efficiency out of their engines. Literally every drop, and the CVT does that better than any other transmission, because it keeps a small engine perpetually in its ideal operating range. Now here's the detail very few people know, and it completely changes how you'll think about this technology. Japanese automakers don't buy CVTs from outside suppliers like you'd buy bolts from a hardware store. They build their own. They own the technology, the process, the factory, and the innovation. Nissan controls Jatco, which is the worldwide leader in CVT production. Toyota uses transmissions developed by Aisin, a company within the Toyota group itself. That means these manufacturers have total control over development, production costs, and the evolution of the technology. It's vertical integration. The transmission isn't a component purchased from a third party. It's part of the company's core industrial strategy. And know what that enables? Continuous, accelerated improvement. Toyota reached a level that barely gets talked about in the US. They developed what they call the direct shift CVT. Here's how it works. Instead of the pulley system handling the launch from a dead stop, this transmission has an actual mechanical first gear for initial acceleration. Only after the car gets moving does the pulley system take over. This directly solves the CVT's biggest problem, that sluggish, noisy, characterless launch. With direct shift, pulling away feels much more like a conventional automatic, and the steel belt works less hard during the highest stress situations, which increases overall durability. That's innovation. That's Japanese engineering taking a problem seriously and solving it from the inside out. But now comes the part automakers don't love to talk about at press launches. The Japanese themselves freely admit, without apology, that the CVT isn't for everything. The Nissan GTR, the car that humiliates Porsches on a wet track, uses the Toyota Supra, which came back as one of the most talked about sports cars in recent years. Uzi's an 8-speed sequential automatic, the Honda Civic Type R. Built for the kind of person who spends their weekends at Road Atlanta, uses a 6-speed manual. Why? Because in those cars, what matters is instant response, driving feel, and the ability to handle extreme torque without complaining. And the CVT, for all its city efficiency, simply can't deliver that. That's the point that defines everything. The Japanese don't use CVTs out of love for the technology. They use them because they're practical above everything else. Right tool, right job, city car and family car with a small engine. CVT! Real sports car where the driver wants to feel every shift. Different transmission. Every time. Now, I need to be straight with you about American reality. And look, this is the reason it's worth staying until the end of this video. America is not Japan. Our roads have mountain passes, steep grades, speed bumps, potholes that could swallow a small child, and highways where you need to punch it to pass a semi-truck before you lose an entire afternoon stuck behind one on something like I-70 through the Rockies. When you need to pass before a tight curve, you floor the accelerator in your CVT car. The engine immediately screams up to redline. The noise is unbearable, and the car responds with a laziness that will make you question every decision that brought you here. You check the mirror, grip the wheel, and just hopey. That's not comfort. That's stress with a soundtrack. There's more. You know, which transmission generates the most heat out of everything I've mentioned? The CVT. And heat is the #1 enemy of any mechanical component. If you live in a city with heavy traffic, hills, constante stapango, this transmission will work harder than it was designed to work. Run harder than it should, and the bill will come. Not right away. It'll show up 5 or 6 years later after your warranty expires in the form of a repair estimate that will make your stomach drop. CVT maintenance in America is no joke. The steel belt and pulleys are not cheap parts. Qualified technicians are scarce. Not every shop has the right equipment to work on these things properly. And if the transmission fails in a more serious way, you could be looking at a repair bill that approaches the value of a used economy car in decent shape. And there's one argument some automakers use to justify the CVT. That doesn't hold up too much scrutiny. The fuel efficiency argument. Brands like Volkswagen, Hyundai, and GM use conventional automatics or dual-clutch transmissions in their major US models. You'll pull up the EPA fuel economy ratings and find cars from those brands with excellent numbers, meeting all emission standards without a CVT in sight. Meaning, yes, you can absolutely be efficient without sacrificing driving feel. That pretty much undermines the main pro-CVT argument. The truth, nobody says at a car launch, is simpler than that. The CVT is cheaper to manufacture than a modern, conventional automatic or a dual-clutch period. Has a simpler architecture, fewer parts, takes up less space, and weighs less. That matters to the automaker because it cuts production costs and boosts profit margins. If the efficiency and sustainability pitch convinces the consumer to accept that choice, even better for them. I'm not saying the automakers are lying. I'm saying the argument has two sides, and the manufacturing cost side rarely shows up in the product presentation. So now the question that actually matters, is the CVT good or bad? Neither. It's appropriate or inappropriate, depending on context. If you live in a flat city, do short commutes, drive at consistently low speeds, and your only goal is to spend as little as possible on gas and never feel a jerky shift, the CVT does its job in controlled urban use. It delivers what it promises. If you regularly drive on the highway, live somewhere hilly, need to pass other vehicles, like feeling the car respond when you put your foot down, or simply don't want to risk an expensive repair bill after your warranty runs out, the CVT is probably not the right choice for you. And before I wrap this up, one last thing I want you to take with you. The transmission is one of the items that most affects how your car actually feels to drive every single day. More than the color, more than the interior trim, more than the infotainment system. You interact with it every single time you leave the house. And at the dealership, it almost never comes up as a primary decision factor because the salesperson is talking about the touchscreen, the backup camera, the heated seats, and the panoramic sunroof. Ask about the transmission. Understand what you're actually buying. Research the specific maintenance costs for the transmission in the exact model you're considering. That can make a massive difference in your wallet over the years. Now, tell me in the comments, Did you already know about the difference between these three types of automatic transmission? Would you buy a CVT car knowing everything you know now? Your answer might help someone who's on the fence right now, sitting across from a salesperson at a dealership, about to sign. If this video blew your mind, share it with that friend who's about to buy an automatic car and has no idea what kind of transmission they're getting. You might be saving them years of headaches. Leave a like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell, because the next video is going to cover something most car buyers completely ignore when they're negotiating, and it could mean the difference between a great deal and years of regret. See you then.